Hello everyone, welcome you all to the Tech Geek webinar. Thank you for joining the session today. The topic of today's talk is INFOSEC, Protecting the World. It will be a 1 hour session with around 40 to 45 minutes for the presentation and the remaining time for the Q&A. So if you have any questions, please send them to us using the questions tab on the GoToWebinar control panel. I am Anmol, the moderator of this session, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to our guest speaker, Ms. Aarti Ramesh. She is the Head of Information Security at ANC. Aarti Ramesh has more than 20 years of experience in the IT industry. She is currently responsible for preventing information security breach that can result in disruption to business, reputation, and financial loss. Her responsibilities include contribution to the global security roadmap and execution of broader strategies objectives at ANZ. So without any further delay, let me introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Aarti.
Thank you, Anmol. Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for making time for this presentation. INFOSEC, which is Information Security, short called INFOSEC, we will be talking more about how INFOSEC protects the world. In one of the TED presentation, I'm just going on the next slide. Yeah. So in one of the TED presentation, I did hear an interesting analogy which I want to share. This is all about cars and brakes. What would come into your mind when you think of cars and brakes of these cars? Well, let me read your mind. Most of us think of stopping the car using brakes for our safety. But it is actually driving fast because you have brakes. Similarly, we feel safe and protected with information security. We put security controls in place so we can do riskier business. Since some of our audience today are new to INFOSEC, I would like to play a video before I go next. Anmol, you need to help me with the video, please.
Sure, Aarti. Just allow me a minute.
Yeah, thank you.
Information security works best when you pause, think, and act. Common sense and smart thinking can protect information sometimes even better than technology can. For example, when connecting to a Wi-Fi in public places.
No. No. Yes.
Always connect to a secure encrypted Wi-Fi hotspot. When you are in a crowded place,
Hello.
Sir, what's the final price we are bidding for the contract?
Give me a moment.
never discuss sensitive business information in a crowded place. When you leave your work desk,
No, wait. Did I forget something?
always lock your computer screen when you are leaving your work desk. While participating in social media, never disclose any sensitive business information in social media while leaving the printer bay. Pick up all the printouts immediately after printing. Do not leave it unattended. As you can see, you don't need technology to protect information all the time. All you need to do is pose, think, and act.
Over to you, Aarti.
Thank you, Anmol. Okay, we'll talk a bit about the cyber attacks. I would like to give some examples which actually happened in the world. The first one that comes into, I think, most of our minds is the WannaCry virus. The most widespread cyber attack ever. Hackers managed to gain access to National Health Service computer systems, causing chaos among the UK medical system. The same hacking tool were used to attack worldwide freight company FedEx and infected computers in 150 countries. Ransomware named WannaCry was delivered via email in the form of an attachment. Once a user clicked on the attachment, the virus was spread through their computer, locking up all their files and demanding money before they could be accessed again. As many as 3 lakh computers were infected with this virus. And this is carried out by North Korean hackers. Another example I would like to quote out here is a group of Russian-based hackers. They were working for a period of 2 years, managed to gain access to secure information from more than 100 institutions around the world. The cyber criminal used malware to infiltrate banks' computer systems and gather personal data. They were then able to impersonate online bank staff to authorize fraudulent transfers and even order ATM machines to dispense cash without a bank card. It was estimated around 650 million pounds stolen from the financial institutions in total. These are some of the examples of the cyber attack. There are many, many, many more. So some more facts to continue is the financial organizations are the biggest target of cyber attacks in 2017, covering 24% of breaches, followed by healthcare and retail. Also, it's interesting to note that 93% of these breaches have been easily avoided just by taking simple steps, such as regular updating software or integrating modern cloud-based solutions. Let's talk a bit about securing data and internet. Data is the new oil. Literally every minute we are pumping unimaginable amount of data into some server somewhere. It's probably a bigger resource than any other in today's world. Analyzed data can be a rich source of business insights, providing social and business services. Considering it new oil, very good analogy. I would like to probably switch over to video now before I proceed ahead. So Anmol, I will need your help again with the next video.
Hi, Aarti, allow me a minute. I'll just do that.
Yes, please.
Welcome to the Internet of Things.
Sensors in a host of physical objects that we use every day are gathering, processing, and sending data, making our lives more convenient,
More automated.
more vulnerable. Vast amounts of real-time information are captured by a growing number of connected devices we touch, pass, and encounter every day. This creates a simple dilemma. Our ability to collect data overwhelms our capacity to protect it. The scope of collected and communicated data now encompasses a wide swath of sensitive information. Purchasing patterns, access codes, driving habits,
And real-time locations.
but many technologies repurposed for the Internet of Things were not intended for secure communications, leaving networks and data vulnerable. A new automobile has about 70 computational systems, GPS, diagnostic devices, remote locks, infotainment systems, and connections to smart homes, running some 100 million lines of programming code. Yet a recent survey of automakers found that nearly 100% of the cars currently on the market include wireless technologies that may be inadequately secure. Some vehicle systems can even be hacked with SMS texting. Even one vulnerable device leaves an entire ecosystem open to attack, posing significant and potentially lethal dangers to individuals and organizations. Hacked smart cars could provide access to smart homes. Compromised industrial control systems could cause machinery or utilities to
Run dangerously out of control.
Managing risks associated with increased data collection in the Internet of Things begins by making the data we gather more secure against an expanding list of threats. But what we call security is now a moving target. Hardware and software degrade with age, while attacks increase in severity and sophistication. Cyber risk management strategies must also include vigilance to know when an attack happens and resilience to recover after a breach. Welcome to the Internet of Things, where security
Cannot be an afterthought.
Okay, just want to share a story on what data can do. This is a family living in US, in of course the suburb area there. Most of their medical needs, medicines and were brought from a nearby pharmacy. So the father one day of the family, of course, he walks up to the pharmacist to buy medicine. And after his job is done, the pharmacist congratulates him. Father was surprised was smiling while somebody is pushing him. When he asked for the reason, he laughed, and the pharmacist told him that his daughter was pregnant and that's why he was congratulating. Obviously, father's smile vanished and was shocked because she was in. How did the pharmacist know? He was definitely keeping track of all the medicines the family was buying. And recently, there was this tablets that was related to pregnancy purchase. That's how, he could get to know that there's some good news in the family. So data can do wonders and will allow take business decisions. It can also cause damage if it reaches wrong hands or misused. Most of us know how social media information can be misused. You must have heard that there was a robbery in a house and the clues were taken from social media. They knew the family was on vacation based on all the pictures that were getting uploaded on the social media. And it made things easy for the thieves. Protecting kids from damage of information sharing on social media is very important. So people having kids at home, please do educate them on the damages it can cause. Yes, there are some regulatory authorities taking some steps to protect data, like the GDPR, which is Global Data Protection Regulations. This is regulation on data protection and privacy for all individuals within European Union. Now, companies having business with European companies should comply with this regulation. Similarly, in India, we will be having personal data protection bill. This bill is in draft mode and is under review, and some of us are involved in the review. After the right approvals, this bill will be passed by the government. So certain steps are taken at a countrywide to protect information. Okay, let's talk a bit about robotic process, automation, a bit of robotic process automation solution has been broadly applied in basic process automation, which is the automation of end transactional, rule-based and repeatable process. Enhanced process automation, processing of secure data and basic knowledge, repository, learning capabilities, ability to work with structured data, pattern recognition, resource data manuals, cognitive automation. This is driven by adaptive technologies, artificial intelligence, natural language recognition, processing, self-optimization, self-learning, digestion of super data sets, predictive analytics, evidence-based learning. Challenges with RPA are specific regulatory guidance, and it's not general. So there is something specific for manufacturing, SCADA, health, inadequate security configuration on IT infrastructure, insecure coding and exception handling, insufficient bot utilization, and of course few associated risks with them, is non-compliance of licensing requirements and regulatory requirements, certain times incorrect third-party selections, ineffective technology architecture, incorrect privacy risk and impact assessment, inadequate monitoring and incident management. So we do have risk associated, cyber risk associated with the modern technologies that we're getting. However, we have few leading practices in the organizations to overcome some of the risks and challenges. And they are embedding risk and controls, design of risk and control matrix, performing risk review and testing of RPA controls. Right. So I was talking about some of the leading practices to overcome these risks and challenges. So embedding risk and controls in design of risk of control and control metrics, performing risk reviews and testing of RPA controls, deep dive of team-based reviews such as a privacy, cybersecurity testing, regulatory review, GDPR, etc. Performing self-assessment of control maturity of RPA program for impacted processes, developing utilities tools to automate RPA control testing. These are some of the controls that could be used to overcome risk and challenges. Again, these practices are gradually maturing, or we are not at the end state yet. Let me go on to what future looks like for the INFOSEC world. So INFOSEC will be built around blockchain technologies. A blockchain originally, is growing list of records called blocks, which are linked using cryptography. Each block contains a cryptographic hash of the previous block, a timestamp and transaction data. By design, a blockchain is resistant to modification of data, supposed to be considered safe. The next one is the artificial intelligence. It refers to an intelligent behavior by machines. Artificial intelligence allows vendor of cybersecurity solutions to enhance the resilience of computer infrastructure. For example, one of the UK-based cybersecurity company uses machine learning to examine the normal state of network and provide real-time reporting of any anomalies on the network. The next one is crowdsourcing. Crowdsourcing is sourcing model in which individuals or organizations obtain goods and services. So these services include ideas and finances from a large, relatively open, and often rapidly evolving group of internet users. It divides work between participants to achieve a cumulative result. The last one, the most important one, is the Global Cybersecurity Corporation. More and more countries and organizations discuss the possibility for exchange of information security intelligence. This is the collaborative approach to attack the problem. And how future looks like with the cyber attacks? Surely unsecure IoT devices will cause increased data breaches. Compromised satellite signals or knocked out by collision with other satellites will cause widespread chaos down on Earth. Cyber attacks will be more powerful because of AI, and so will cyber defense be. From a workforce perspective, there's definitely greater demand of cybersecurity jobs, which is 1.8 million by 2022. And right now we have 11% women force in the cybersecurity world, and probably will see a marginal increase in future. As a community, let's encourage women to take up INFOSEC as profession. What is our role in our day-to-day lives? So employees at every level of the organization will need to be involved, including the board members and managers in non-technical roles. Everybody's responsibility is to protect, to run smooth businesses. Adapt secure development practices. Comply to all information security requirements on time. I'll go to the summary slide. Technology of cybersecurity advances, and so does the technology of hackers. So I did talk about adapting secure development practices, preventing breaches from happening by simply being compliant, running the patches on time, all other requirements, security related requirements to be met on time. Protect personal information by being vigilant on the social media. Each and every single person's involvement is must in the organization. The collaboration becomes the key. I did cover this in global cybersecurity cooperation when I talked about it. So sharing industry best practices and learning from each other and supporting each other becomes the key. Thanks to the INFOSEC in this digital era, which is doing the most important activity by protecting our businesses and data, and thereby protecting the world. I just want to cover a bit on from an India perspective, especially with the Aadhaar card and the judgment that happened recently. So with the Aadhaar judgment, of course, a unique ID can be of considerable in a democracy in size of India. However, mandating it conflicts with certain provisions of the Constitution. So according to the judgment, Aadhaar will be collected for the purpose specifically, and it cannot be collected for a child getting admitted to school or for buying mobile or SIM whatsoever. So the judgment is aligned with the government's argument. Well, the question would be, what happens now with all the other information that's already been given to the service providers? Won't the data be misused by those custodians? Yes, according to the judgment, private entities cannot ask for Aadhaar to provide a service. So they will need to securely destroy it from their databases and should formally confirm to appropriate authorities that it has been destroyed. So I just wanted to cover a bit about this Aadhaar and how the judgment plays a role. Well, this comes to the end of the presentation.
Hi, Aarti. In the meantime, we can continue with the Q&A session if you wish to.
Okay, I'm okay.
Yeah. So questions are displaying on your questions panel.
You can let me see that. I'm not able to see it. 1 second. Okay. Let me go with the first question. This is from Rohit Singh. how can our data governance strategy complement information security? Can they survive without each other? Well, information security is a broader umbrella, and data governance strategy is part of the information broader umbrella. So they can't survive, of course, without each other. And information protection or the data protection will have its own strategy under a broader strategy, like I said, from of the information security umbrella. Okay, I'll move on to the next question. This is from Shrikant Reddy. What's the advice to people from other domains or freshers that want to switch to INFOSEC? How is the current demand of INFOSEC jobs? Shrikant, I think I'm a classic example out here. I predominantly come from a delivery background, and last couple of years I've got into the information security space. So there are some certifications, of course, which will help, which you can look into, and you know, and if you're a student studying, then INFOSEC Science is something that you can look at. So these certifications definitely help, and the demand is very, very high. Hotcakes in the market for the information security jobs, and right now we have limited talent available, and we would like to get many more there. So you want to switch over to information security as your main line, you could do that. Okay, this is a very similar question asked by Srivatsa as well. What are the courses that has to be done if you have to get into the information security line? So you could. There are several courses out there, to get onto the information security, which is the CISA, CISM, and some courses around risk management, cloud security, and many more. You could work on the certifications to get into these. That said, we do need people, unless the role is really required technical skills. We do require people with different backgrounds to bring different perspective into this. So I wouldn't say always certification is mandate, depending on the role, like I mentioned. So you could, whatever line you are in, you could still attempt applying for information security role. In ANZ, definitely we have people who are SMEs in INFOSEC and who are coming from other backgrounds as well. So the group of people complement each other and it works well. So you could definitely not stop yourself trying for these INFOSEC roles. Okay, the Aadhaar, I think I covered a bit of it. So how Aadhaar data is misused. I did talk a bit of what the judgment said, and I did say that as per the judgment, the private entities are asked for, to securely destroy from their databases and formally confirm to the appropriate authorities that it is destroyed. So hopefully that should happen, and the misuse should stop, I guess, with this judgment. What's the next question? How do we protect our sensitive information? Vimal Kumar. I mean, if you look at the cloud security, cloud usage now, to keep data secure, the cloud system does the encryption. Encryption method utilizes complex algorithms, and that being said, cloud data is generally safer than keeping data in the local stored servers. So I guess most of the companies are now moving at getting to the cloud solutions. How government will make sure that I think this is referred to Aadhaar. I read the question again. This is from Prakash. How government will make sure that it's securely destroyed? Well, at this point of time, I don't know if there's a governance mechanism, but if there is a Supreme Court order, I'm sure there'll be some governance that's going to come in, which right now I'm not aware of the governance model, but they will have to confirm back to the appropriate authorities that it is destroyed. So I'm sure there'll be some governance done out of that. What is the level of ANZ cloud adoption? This is Praveen. Well, we started off slowly, but now we see most of our projects that we're doing, we are getting onto the cloud. So the long way to go. As of now, we are probably around 20-25% out there. Okay, what are the questions out here? There's some question, I think, around blockchain. Just give me a moment. I'll read that for you. Blockchain originally, of course, like I mentioned earlier, is a growing list of records called blocks, which are linked using cryptography. So each block contains a cryptographic hash of the previous block and timestamp. By design, blockchain is resistant, and modification of data is not easy. So it's considered secure. And of course, these bitcoins and all that into picture, which you've heard from some of these attacks. A bit about the bitcoins is the transaction is a transfer of value between Bitcoin wallets that gets included in blockchain. So Bitcoin wallets keep a secret piece of data called private key or seed, which is used to sign transactions, and it's got some mathematical proof that they have to come from the owner of the wallet. So with all these complicated algorithms, it's considered safe at this moment. And I was saying, in the future slide, that the technology of cybersecurity advances, and so the technology of hackers. So it's a continuous evolving process to safeguard and to protect data and information. Okay. I think some repeat questions are coming, which I wouldn't take right now. Okay, so clean desk policy, how it works only by CBT and can it be monitored? I can just talk a bit of, this is Vimal asking the question on clean desk. So how it works out in ANZ is that we manually do the audit on regular basis. And of course, the report is shared to the highest management in ANZ to draw attention. So in the management meeting, we bring this report up and we talk about the trends and you know, what sensitive information was left on the table and what can cause, what loss it can cause. And a lot of awareness that we spread across either through mails or through plasma TVs or by conducting sessions to the staff out here and you know, talk about the importance of the clear desk. We do see some trends by doing all this where we do see some lowering trends. That said, it's a continuous process where we need to keep monitoring and reporting. Yes, that's how it's working in ANZ. I know some of the other companies also, you know, follow the same method. Grishma has a question. How can we ensure that organization comply with policies, that is the GDPR and PDP when it comes? We have the governing authorities like the RBI in India and APRA in Australia. Well, these are the people who do come and audit us, and they do check whether we are complying to the policies. And because of the policing that is done, we will have to, otherwise we will have to face the consequences. So it could be a reputation loss as well, and the financials. So I would say the regulatory authorities do check on a regular basis for us to comply to these. Well, I guess that's all it is, Anmol. So back to you.
Aarti, there's one last question which I can see. This is, what is your view on CASB solutions? Is there any vendor to look at for the present?
Okay, this is the cloud access security broker. Okay, I might have to come back on this question. I don't think of you know, any vendor right now to advise, but definitely I'll come back with some you know, thoughts on this.
That would be great, Aarti. I'll be forwarding you the question over the mail, and you can
yes, please.
get back to me on that.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
So, Aarti, thank you very much for this really empowering and motivating session today. I would also like to thank all our participants for making this webinar a great success. This session has been recorded and the recording will soon be available on techgig.com. Thank you everyone for joining us, and I would also like to tell everybody that I will also be sharing the video links again with all of you. You can go have a look at the videos which Aarti had shared with you. Thank you so much, Aarti, for being here.
Pleasure, and a lovely audience. I'm sorry because we had some of the technical glitches out here Sorry about the pause during the presentations. Thank you very much, and Anmol and team, thanks for the opportunity. Really loved doing this. Thank you very much, and have a great weekend, everybody.
Thank you, Aarti. Our pleasure.